under no circumstances of a man having air in his lungs, a man having the ability to walk, the ability to talk, the ability to think, that he ever think it's ever too late. It's never too late. It's never too late.
I say it's never, never too late. I say it's never, never, never. I say it's never.
All right, welcome to the channel. It's on us, and I'm your host, BG Ali, and I'm allow this moment for my co-founder of On Us to introduce himself and give a brief introduction of what On Us is all about. So with no further delay, let me allow Mr. Abdullah to introduce himself.
I'm Abdullah the Black Sheep, baby.
Okay, Abdullah the Black Sheep. All right, let's get started, man. What we got going on?
Well, we want to introduce the world to Own Us and explain why Own Us is significant and essential to prison reform and social justice reform. What it does is allow inmates to have a part and have a role in the conversation that has been one-sided for far too long. When we talk about social justice reform, we talk about penal justice reform. Rarely do we include the inmate's voice. And if we do include the inmate's voice, it's a perspective or a perception that's really askew from what should be said. I remember reading one time the Zuckerbergs when they laid out, dealing with prison reform. And they said inmates' voices is something that they want to hear from because they better understand the problem. They better understand how to explain what reform is necessary. And when we're talking about reform, we're talking about laws. We're talking about laws that have been passed that are still on the books. We're talking about rehabilitation. We're talking about program change. We're talking about various things that cater to a person becoming a better individual and a more productive member in society so that they don't reoffend, they don't cater to the recidivism rate. This is what On Us is about. On Us is about inmates, having a voice and having the opportunity to be able to demonstrate their change, at the same time tell their life story. So, as we say, it's on us, hashtag because it is.
Hashtag because it is. Okay, so there you have it. That was Abdul the Black Sheep. He been down 36 years, and he the co-founder of On Us. And we sat down and talked about the platform, and I let him know that this is open. This is an open platform. Being the voice of the incarcerated, and everybody has a story. Everybody want to be heard, and I enlightened them that when you open your mouth, just know that your thoughts are your thoughts, and but once you verbalize them, they are up for scrutiny because we do live in a dog-eat-dog world. There's different politics and different aspects and belief systems that people believe in, different codes and etc. But what I'm saying, I'm not going to deny nobody their right to be heard. So have that been said, even me to properly introduce myself, I was asked a few questions by several inmates up in there. And the first question was, what do I think about the so-called G Code, and what would I change about the jailhouse politics today? Very good question by Cedric. So let's take strict constructionism and living constitutionalism. And strict constructionism, they believe that the Constitution, when the forefathers wrote it, that is what it is, and they conform into what the forefathers said then, opposed to adapting to the times. So for etc., if the forefathers knew that they had a 100-round drum that an 18-year-old can go in the store and get and, do a lot of damage, I believe that they would change, some of the laws, just based on that fact. They would adapt to what's going on today. So now, have that been said, when we deal with the G Code, Um, to know something or to be taught something is two total different things. So when we deal with the G code, you have to understand it's a time frame from when certain people went to prison. So you had the actual older black men in the 60s and 70s that had a platform, and they had a what we call not a platform, but they had rules and regulations that they lived by. And then time changed when, the OGs up under them came with a whole different things. Now, I don't know that type of history, so I'm not going to tap in it. I'm just going by, some of the things that I was told, but I wasn't there, so I'm not going to elaborate on that. So when I come along and come to prison, it was just simple things of like, keep yourself, G code is, the number one thing was telling. And to this day, snitching is at an all-time high, but it's still looked upon in certain ways. But to bring back that old strict rules and regulations, structure, that's what I'm trying to say. So they had a structure. So in today's time, you have all this favoritism and all this division that it's I'm gonna just say it's so sickening, because we gain some and we lose some. Now, this is what I mean by that. So what I've been noticed, because I've been privileged to been in powwows, and people pass the paper around and the transcripts, and I have read some that them dudes was total snitches. It is what it is. Then I have read some to where these young dudes were just, caught in a situation and thought they can wiggle themselves out of something, and didn't, anything that they said did not incriminate their co-defendants. They only incriminated themselves. And so when they get to prison and you have these angry youngsters who gotta ride out this time, the first thing they do is he snitch, or he on paperwork, because they don't know that structure that, the rules and regulations was this. So just as I said, we have to adapt with time. These youngsters are so lost, and it's nobody's fault but ours. That's why it's called On Us. So it's on us to really take the time, whether you in prison, whether you free, whether you got a nephew, whether even nieces these days, you know what I'm saying? But anybody who's coming up that field of more likely they got a chance to be incarcerated, need to really just learn the simple rules and regulations for them. They won't put themselves in them type of situations. Okay, so that's how far I'm gonna go with that. It's a lot of things I want to touch on. When you hear that, I gotta remember that this is live TV. You could be incriminated, you can be scrutinized for a belief system that you had. But when I'm asked a question for people to get a better understanding of me, I'm gonna answer it in its entirety. So another pet peeve of mine that I would change is gambling on the ass. Gambling on the ass to me is total disrespect to your fellow men, or the card that you belong to, because prison ran off of cards like the, the Hooves and A-Trays, the Hub and Dub, and et cetera, et cetera. You get where I'm going with it. And you have one dude, he wake up, and when I'm in them powwows, I just look at him with disgust, because when you wake up, you know what you have in your cell, what you have on your books, who's gonna give you something and send you something and who's not. And you take that chance and jeopardize everybody who's directly affected by your behavior. And that's a pet peeve of mine. And you have some people want to pay the debts because of who they are or what their name is, or um, who they are to that particular group of set of peoples who eventually, have the in-house card to where we all have the whole card. So just say your hood, and so he's somebody to that particular hood, but this hood run with a car. So all these actions are going to directly affect me. I just off top believe the first one should be a DP. The second one should be automatically be a removal. Another thing that I see that makes politics raggedy is you have a mouthy dude or a person who get into a situation, and just because he's from a different car and he favored, that they don't give him that one-on-one. And to me, any man who put himself in any kind of situation, they start off with two men first. And if they both men, instead of hiding behind locs and riders, let them get that fade. Let them get that fade. The other politics, just because this is going to be, the first time I upload on my YouTube channel, I don't want to put myself in no particular group of what this podcast is about, because I'm not want to do no name calling, no finger pointing, no upsetting or arousing, anyone, because that's not the motive, of this platform. However, I do know that if anybody given the opportunity to speak and speak freely, it will be a lot of controversial conversations, taking place, because you have some people that debrief, you have some people that did, things that other people don't approve of, and we can't say it's on us and we discriminate. Now, speaking on that, the next question kind of was so mind-blowing that I would rather for, you to hear it from the horse's mouth before I answer. And this was the question.
About big cultures is, what does it mean when we say voice of the incarcerated as it relates to the LGBTQ community?
Wow.
Now, that was a bold and interesting question from, I hope I'm saying it right, Big Como Chas. Yeah, now that opened up a can of worms. Being a realist, we're sometimes put in positions to either create chaos or diffuse chaos. And I believe that the only time there's chaos is when somebody feel offended about something. So first, I'm going to say shout out to the LGBTQ. I hope I'm saying that right, because they're who they are, and they're openly happy with who they are. Now, my take on this, I've never been homophobic. And, I have, a gay daughter, a gay son, plenty of gay associates, family members. So I've never been homophobic. What I have been was confused with, how, it's funny how even when I said shout out to the LGBTQ, that, certain homies or certain people gonna be, man, did you hear Ali and what he said? And do. Okay, I just turned 50. We been coexistence with the gay world, because 10 out of 20 of your big homies and some of my homies who've been in prisons has had full-blown relationships with men, and they've had their gay rights. Oh, now that one right there is like a what? I'm gonna say it again. 10 out of 20 of your homies and mine has been in prison having relationships with grown men, so they've been had their gay rights. So we've been desensitized from homosexuality. So on that point, shout out to Mr. Cham. I think I said it right, Chamakas. Yeah, this line is open for everyone who's incarcerated, everyone who deal with incarceration, everyone who have something to share, something they want to comment about. Matter of fact, you can put a comment down right below. Put a comment right below. Like it or dislike it. Open it up for open dialogue and conversation. Put me on the spot. However you want to do it. This is what this is. It's on us. Is live prison talk. You hearing it straight from, you know, the inmate's mouth. And as my co-founder stated, we finna get rid of that one-sided conversation to where you only hear the side of the media opposed to hearing the side of the incarcerated. So this is the beginning of me airing, you know, on us and, you know, uploading it on YouTube to open up a different platform for those who deal with the visual opposed to those who ain't went on Spotify and checked out, you know, a few episodes that's already loaded. Matter of fact, you know what I'm saying, go on Spotify and check it out. If not, you know what I'm saying, subscribe to the channel. It's gonna get real. You already know it's gonna get real. These topics are somewhat taboo. How's that? But okay, some of these topics are taboo. Some of it gonna be, you know, to the extreme. But one thing on us is not about is like name. We're not directly pointing out names or, you know what I'm saying, trying to, you know what I'm saying, ride the fame on anybody that's starting any controversial conversation. We're just dealing with the topics at hand and allowing people, you know what I'm saying, to express themselves, you know what I'm saying, from inside, and their families can, you know, chime in on what's going on. And, you know what I'm saying, that takes me back to the only name thing I will say, oh, let me do a shout out to the Big Twiz. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to check out the Big Twiz show. My boy got his podcast popping, Grown Folks Conversation. Shout out to him. I like some of his where he's going with it, and some of the topics very deep. But staying back on the point, another thing that when we was dealing with snitching and how the mindset of men these days, the TI situation. And like I said, I'm not in this for no controversial what you think or what you feel is all open. This just is my opinion on things of how it's twisted. It relates to how time has twisted what snitching is. He beat the system and blamed the crime on a dead man, his folks. He beat the system and placed the crime on a dead man. How is that snitching? And you know, I love Boosie Badass. I got through prison off of his music. I wanted them to collaborate on something. I know that would have been heated, but you know, his position was, you know, what it was. But again, if I was on a mission and it's me and another guy and, you know, my loved one, and before he do 100 years for keeping it real for a dead man, please put the case on me, because you can't tell on me if I can't testify and I'm dead and gone. But you, that real nigga shit is you doing 100 years, and the system been busting us upside our head for a myriad of years, almost since the existence of our existence. Oh, okay. I'm gonna leave that alone because this ain't about that. But you know what I'm saying? Thanks for tuning in. This is on us, the voice for the incarcerated. As I said, it's not limited there. You know, topics can get, you know, from here to there and from there to there. But it's all open door. All right. Y'all have a blessed one. On us, cause hashtag it is.